Few moments in life change everything. For Marcus Reed, it was the day he opened his mouth and couldn't close it fast enough. Standing 6'4" with hands like sledgehammers, Marcus had bulldozed through 27 opponents without a single defeat. The boxing world whispered his name with reverence, calling him the Titan. But whispers weren't enough for Marcus. He wanted them to scream. The press conference buzzed with anticipation. Cameras flashed like lightning as Muhammad Ali entered. Moving with the grace that defied his heavyweight frame, Marcus watched from across the room, his jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. This was his moment. This was his chance. If you felt something already, no matter how small, don't leave without giving back. Comment and tell me where you're watching this video from, and subscribe to the channel. "The champ looks tired," Marcus called out, silencing the room. "I see an old lion who's forgotten his roar." His manager tugged at his sleeve, a warning unheeded. "I promise you this, Ali, 1 round. That's all I need to knock you out cold." Ali's eyes found Marcus across the sea of reporters. The room held its breath. Then the champion's face cracked into that famous smile. "You must be a magician," Ali replied, "because that's the most impossible promise I've ever heard." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Marcus felt his face burn. But there was no going back now. The words hung in the air, captured by every microphone, every camera. He had promised to do what no man had ever done, knock out Muhammad Ali in the first round. That night, alone in his hotel room, Marcus paced like a caged animal. 27 victories had built his confidence into an unbreakable fortress. He had crushed opponents who towered over him, who outweighed him, who had more experience. But none of them were Ali. None of them floated like a butterfly or stung. Like a bee, his phone rang, his father calling from their small apartment in the Bronx. "I saw the news," his father said, voice heavy with worry. "What were you thinking, son?" "I was thinking I'm the best," Marcus replied. "And it's time the world knew it. There's confident, and then there's foolish," his father sighed. "You challenged a legend." "Legends fall," Marcus said, "and I'll be the one to bring him down." His father went silent for a moment. "Your mother would have told you to humble yourself." The mention of his mother sent a pang through Marcus's chest. She had been his biggest supporter, attending every amateur fight until cancer took her 5 years ago. Her last words to him echoed. In his mind, "Fight with heart, not with pride." "I've got to go, Dad," Marcus said, unable to bear the weight of disappointment in his father's voice. "Training starts early tomorrow." Sleep evaded him that night. Marcus stared at the ceiling, replaying his promise over and over. The sports networks had already turned his words into headlines. Reed promises to knock out Ali in 1 round. Some called him brave, others called him delusional. By morning, he had become the most talked-about boxer in America. For all the wrong reasons, the gym became Marcus's sanctuary in the weeks that followed. His training intensified to punishing levels. Each morning began before dawn with a 10-mile run. Each night ended with his body screaming in protest. His trainer, a grizzled veteran named Frank, who had once sparred with Joe Frazier, pushed him beyond limits he thought possible. "You've written a check with your mouth," Frank said, watching. Marcus pounded the heavy bag until his knuckles bled through the wraps. "Now your body has to cash it." Marcus's preparation attracted attention. Reporters camped outside the gym. Fellow boxers came to watch his sparring sessions. Even celebrities appeared. A famous director filmed him for a documentary, and a platinum-selling rapper offered to create his entrance music. One morning, a sleek black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up outside the gym. The chauffeur opened the door, and out stepped Clayton Morris, the tech billionaire whose net worth exceeded $15 billion. He was known for his extravagant bets on sporting events, and the rumor was that he had placed $5 million on Marcus to win. "I believe in underdogs," Clayton said, extending a hand adorned with a watch worth more than Marcus's entire career earnings. "And I believe in you." Clayton's presence brought a new dimension to Marcus's training. Suddenly, he had access to resources he'd never imagined. A nutritionist who prepared meals with ingredients flown in from around the world. A recovery specialist who had worked with Olympic gold medalists. And equipment so advanced, it seemed to have come from the future. This is how champions train, Clayton explained, as he showed Marcus the hyperbaric chamber installed in his apartment. This is how history is made. Marcus embraced the luxury, letting it feed his confidence. His social media followers multiplied exponentially. Endorsement offers flooded in. A custom suit designer created an outfit for him to wear to the fight, a masterpiece of tailoring worth $20,000. But amidst the glamour, doubt began to creep in. During sparring sessions, Marcus found himself getting hit more often than he should. His timing felt off. His power seemed diminished. Frank noticed it too, but attributed it to the pressure. "It's normal," Frank assured him. "The weight of that promise is heavy." 2 weeks before the fight, Marcus received an unexpected visitor. At his new penthouse apartment, a gift from Clayton that overlooked Central Park. The doorman called up to announce that someone named Walter Johnson wanted to see him. The name meant nothing to Marcus, but he allowed the man up. Walter was in his 70s, with dark skin weathered by time and eyes that had seen too much. He walked with a slight limp and carried himself with quiet dignity. "You don't know me," Walter said when Marcus opened the door, "but I fought Ali back when he was still Cassius Clay." Marcus invited him in, intrigued. The old boxer declined. The offer of champagne, another luxury Marcus had grown accustomed to, and instead asked for water. "I made a promise too," Walter said, looking out at the million-dollar view. "Not to the press, but to myself. I promised I would be the one to beat him. I trained harder than I'd ever trained. I was certain." "What happened?" Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer. "He dismantled me," Walter said simply. "Not just physically, but mentally. By the 3rd round, I knew I'd never land a significant punch. By the 5th, I was fighting for survival. He stopped me in the 7th, and he was kind about it. That was the worst part. His kindness." Marcus shifted, uncomfortably. "With all due respect, sir, that was a different time. I'm a different fighter," Walter nodded slowly. "We all think we're different. That's the trap." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a faded newspaper clipping. "This was from before our fight. I thought you might want to see it." The headline read, "Johnson vows to end Clay's unbeaten streak." "History has a way of repeating itself," Walter said, placing the clipping on the marble coffee table worth $30,000. "I just hope you're prepared for that." After Walter left, Marcus called Clayton. "I need to train harder," he said. "Whatever it costs," Clayton laughed. "That's what I like to hear. I'll have my jet ready in an hour. We're going to my private training facility in Aspen. Altitude training will give you the edge." For the final week before the fight, Marcus trained in a state-of-the-art complex nestled in the Colorado mountains. The facility had cost Clayton $50 million to build and featured technology not available to the public. Here, every punch Marcus threw was analyzed by computers. Every heartbeat was monitored. Every calorie was calculated. On his last night in Aspen, Marcus sat on the deck of the mountain lodge, staring at the stars. Clayton joined him, bringing 2 glasses of rare whiskey valued at $3,000 per bottle. "To making history," Clayton toasted. Marcus raised his glass, but couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something important, something no amount of money could buy. The week of the fight arrived with fanfare worthy of a presidential election. New York City vibrated with anticipation. Marcus's face appeared on billboards in Times Square. Tickets for Madison Square Garden sold out in minutes, with ringside seats changing hands for prices that could buy small houses. The press events intensified. At the final press conference, Ali was surprisingly subdued. He offered none of his famous rhymes, none of his poetic predictions. Instead, he studied Marcus with eyes that seemed to see through his bravado. "You've trained well," Ali said, when they faced off for photographs. "But have you prepared your spirit?" The question lingered in Marcus's mind as he returned to his hotel suite. The room was filled with luxury items, gifts from sponsors, admirers, and Clayton. A crystal decanter worth $8,000 sat untouched on a side table. Designer clothes worth tens of thousands hung in the closet. A gold-plated phone containing the numbers of celebrities who suddenly wanted to be his friend lay on the nightstand. Yet Marcus felt hollow. The night before the biggest fight of his life, he found himself thinking of his mother. She had sewn his first pair of boxing gloves when they couldn't afford to buy real ones. She had worked double shifts as a nurse to pay for his amateur competitions. She had believed in him when he was nothing. "What would she think of me now?" he whispered to the empty room. His phone rang, his father calling. "I'm coming to the fight," his father said. "Got a bus ticket?" "I'll send a private jet," Marcus replied. "Clayton won't mind." His father went quiet. "That's not necessary, son." "Why not?" "You deserve it." "Because that's not who we are," his father said. "We're not private jet people. We're bus ticket people who work hard and stay humble." The words stung more than any punch Marcus had ever taken. "I'm still the same person, Dad." "Are you?" his father asked. "The son I raised wouldn't have made that promise. He would have let his fists do the talking." After they hung up, Marcus called Frank. "I need to spar," he said. "Right now." "It's midnight," Frank protested. "You need rest." "What I need is to feel like myself again," Frank reluctantly agreed. They met at the empty gym, just the two of them. No cameras, no reporters, no billionaires, just a fighter and his trainer, like it used to be. Marcus wrapped his own hands, something he hadn't done in weeks. The familiar ritual calmed him. Frank put on the pads, and Marcus began to work. Each punch carried the weight of his journey. Each combination told the story of who he was beneath the hype. "Talk to me," Frank said between rounds. "What's going on in that head of yours?" "I'm scared," Marcus admitted, the words feeling foreign on his tongue. "Not of losing. I'm scared of who I'm becoming." Frank nodded. "Fear is good. It means you still care about the right things." They trained until dawn broke over the city. As they sat on the ring apron, exhausted and honest, Marcus made a decision. "I'm going to apologize to Ali," he said, "for the promise." Frank shook his head. "Too late for that, but it's not too late to fight with integrity." When Marcus returned to his hotel, Clayton was waiting in the lobby, surrounded by an entourage of beautiful people and business associates. His diamond-encrusted watch gleamed under the chandelier. "There he is," Clayton exclaimed. "The man of and the hour. I've arranged a surprise for you, a pre-fight party on my yacht. 200 of the most influential people in New York are waiting to meet you." Marcus looked at the billionaire, at the luxury that had become his new normal, at the world that had embraced him because of a promise he was no longer sure he could keep. "I need to rest," Marcus said. "The fight is tomorrow." Clayton's smile faltered. "This is networking, Marcus. This is your future beyond boxing." "My future depends on tomorrow," Marcus replied. "And tomorrow depends on today." For the first time in weeks, Marcus spent the day alone. He turned off his phone. He declined interviews. He sat in silence, finding his center. When night fell, he opened his suitcase and pulled out a worn photograph of his mother at his first Golden Gloves tournament. Her smile had always been his true north. "Guide me," he whispered to her image. "Help me remember who I am." The morning of the fight, Marcus woke with clarity he hadn't felt since before the press conference. His hotel room phone rang. Clayton, calling from his 200-foot yacht, docked in the Hudson River. "My jet brought in celebrities from Los Angeles," Clayton said. "The after-party will make history, win or lose." "I appreciate everything you've done," Marcus said, But today is about the fight, nothing else. The hours before the bout passed in a ritual Marcus had performed 27 times before. He ate a light meal, he meditated, he visualized, but this time he visualized not just winning, but fighting with honor, regardless of the outcome. Madison Square Garden hummed with electricity as 20,000 spectators filed in. The wealthy elite occupied ringside seats. Movie stars whose films grossed hundreds of millions, musicians whose albums went multi-platinum, and business tycoons whose companies controlled the flow of billions of dollars. Clayton sat directly across from Marcus's corner, surrounded by beautiful women and business associates. In the locker room, Marcus wrapped his hands himself again. Frank watched silently, understanding the significance. When it was time for the gloves, Frank handled them with reverence. "Whatever happens out there," Frank said, "remember why you started boxing in the first place." Marcus nodded. "For the love of it, not for promises or money or fame." The walk to the ring was a blur of noise and light. Marcus focused on his breathing, on staying present. Ali entered after him, the crowd roaring for the champion whose legacy transcended the sport. When they met in the center for the referee's instructions, Ali's eyes were calm and knowing. "I respect you," Marcus said quietly, so only Ali could hear. Ali nodded once. "Show me." The bell rang. The fight that Marcus had promised would end in one round began. Ali moved with the grace that had made him legendary. Though older now, his footwork remained masterful. Marcus pursued, throwing calculated punches rather than the wild haymakers his promise might have demanded. He connected with a solid jab that snapped Ali's head back. The crowd gasped, but Ali smiled. The first round ended without a knockout. Marcus returned to his corner, aware of the promise now broken. The cameras zoomed in on Clayton, who looked displeased. The commentators speculated about the $5 million bet apparently lost. "Forget the promise," Frank said. "Fight your fight." The second round began. Ali began to open up, peppering Marcus with the quick combinations that had defined his career. Marcus weathered them, responding with heavy body shots when he could close the distance. Neither man dominated. It was a chess match at high speed. By the sixth round, both fighters showed signs of fatigue and damage. Marcus's left eye began to swell. Ali's lip was split. They had earned each other's respect in the trenches of combat. In the eighth round, Marcus caught Ali with a right hook that wobbled the champion. The crowd rose to its feet. Marcus had a moment, a chance to go for the finish. He saw Ali vulnerable, saw the opening for a knockout blow. His instinct screamed to throw everything into a finishing combination. Instead, he stepped back. He gave Ali a second to recover. It wasn't a conscious decision. It was instinct, the instinct of a fighter who valued honor above victory at any cost. Ali's eyes registered understanding. When they engaged again, it was with mutual respect that transcended competition. The fight went the full 15 rounds. Both men gave everything they had. When the final bell sounded, they embraced in the center of the ring, bloodied but unbowed. The judge's decision was announced, a split decision victory for Ali. Marcus felt no disappointment. He had fought the best fight of his career against the greatest boxer who ever lived. In his locker room afterward, Marcus sat alone, unwrapping his hands. A knock at the door revealed Clayton, his expression unreadable. "I lost $5 million on you," Clayton said. Marcus nodded. "I'm sorry about your bet." "Don't be," Clayton replied, surprising him. "I lost money but gained something more valuable. I witnessed integrity. In a world where people say anything for attention, you showed what it means to be a man of character." He extended his hand. "The offer to join my team stands, not as a novelty, but as someone I respect." After Clayton left, another visitor arrived, Ali himself. The champion entered quietly, his face showing the marks of battle. "You promised to knock me out in one round," Ali said. "I was wrong to make that promise. Marcus admitted. Ali smiled. No, the promise wasn't wrong. It got you here. What was right was how you fought when the promise was broken. He leaned closer. Never be ashamed of believing in yourself. Just remember that true greatness isn't in what you say. It's in what you do when no one is looking, and in how you handle yourself when everyone is. That night, Marcus declined Clayton's lavish after-party on the yacht. Instead, he had dinner at a small restaurant in the Bronx with his father. They ate simple food and talked about his mother, about family, about what really mattered. You lost the fight, his father said, but found yourself. Your mother would be proud. Marcus touched the swelling around his eye. I didn't keep my promise. His father reached across the table and took his son's battered hand. You kept the one that mattered, the promise to be the man she raised you to be. Outside the restaurant, a group of kids recognized Marcus. They asked for autographs, not because he had knocked out Muhammad Ali in one round, but because he had stood 15 rounds with the greatest and had done so with dignity. As Marcus signed their scraps of paper, he realized that sometimes the promises we break lead us to truths we need to find. He had promised the world a one-round knockout. Instead, he had delivered something far more valuable, an example of what it means to face your limitations with courage and your success with grace. If you made it this far and felt every word, don't leave without subscribing. I tell these stories with my heart in my hands to reach people like you, who feel, who get emotional, who live. If this truly touched you, give back, comment, subscribe. Come be part of this family with me until the next video.